Hey guys, this is Jay here. This is Faith Evolved. Welcome to yet another episode where I discuss all things spiritual, philosophical, mental health, even like metaphysical type topics. I discuss it all here, even aliens sometimes. Hey, welcome. Appreciate you joining me today. And today's video is going to be about something a little bit different, more personal than, topical. And I used to start off my video saying, hey, this is Jay, your spiritual INTJ, and it kind of rhymed. Well, I can't really do that anymore. And here's why. So a few years back, I was working for actually a company where my friend got me a job at. And one of the team building exercises that we did was, see what your MBTI personality type is. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I'm going to try it out. So we all did it. I forget what everybody else's was, but I know mine came back INTJ. And they were all kind of jokingly, poking at me saying, oh, he's the scientist. And I always kind of thought that was interesting because, I knew that I was kind of a thinker and I was kind of intellectual. But the scientists kind of seem more like a stoic type. And I can be when it comes to like certain things. I can be, more just, on task. Let's get this done. Let's get it over with. But I do tend to be more emotional on the inside. I don't really show it all the time. It doesn't get triggered, unless it's like interpersonal conflicts happen. Recently, I went through a interpersonal conflict that, for a few weeks I was, definitely feeling, very emotional inside. But I can control it most of the time. I can focus on task, get my work done, and structure my life in a way where routine serves me, and I don't have to waver back and forth. Do I really want to do this? Even if I'm not feeling like doing it, I know I gotta do it, and I can seem to kind of push myself beyond it. But recently I decided, it's been a few years. I think it's been about 5 years since I did that test. And I decided to do, 4 different tests, because the first time I did it, it came back INFJ, which is introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. And, I was like, okay, I know I've been a little bit more emotional as of late, and I went through a dark night of the soul a few years back, and I do feel a little different, a little more evolved since then, but that can't be the case. And I did 3 other tests on three different sites, and lo and behold, and I try to be as unbiased as possible. I tried to answer them, not purposely trying to get INTJ or INFJ or anything else, just like purposely being honest, brutally honest about how I felt about each question that was asked. And each one came back INFJ. Clearly, one of them even said -T, which is turbulent, which is definitely true. I can definitely be a little turbulent. I can be passionate. I can also be triggered easily, emotionally, typically interpersonal situations. But the INFJ is considered the advocate or a mystic in some explanations of it. And I did the test here. It came back 83% introverted, so I'm definitely still on the introverted side. 80% intuitive, 70% feeling, 30% thinking, 60% judging, 40% prospecting, or as I think some of them say, the P stands for perceiving. And then 76% turbulent and 24% assertive. So this is on 16personalities.com. You can go there right now and do your personality test, see what it comes back as. And it kind of helps you kind of get an idea of how you interact, with your own self, but also with other people. And the advocate is someone who's, again, introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. And it says here they're the rarest personality type of all, which I've always felt like I didn't fit in. I've always felt like, I was among the rarer types of people on the planet. And, being an INTJ prior to this, it's similar in the sense that you're still on the introverted side, you're still intuitive and you're judging, but you kind of think things through and not necessarily respond by feeling, whereas the feeling type is going to feel the emotions first and then think their way through them, which is how I live my life. And I can be, sometimes I can look at situations and like almost like the way Spock views situations, kind of like a Vulcan, where it's like they can seem like they're stoic, but they deeply feel their emotions. And my ex-wife used to always, think of me as being or acting like Spock sometimes, where I can certainly be a lot more emotional on the surface than any kind of Vulcan would be. I tended to approach situations, not necessarily people, but situations in a thinking manner. So I still think there's a part of me that leads off of thinking, but when it comes to people, I tend to be more on the feeler side of things because I'm an empath. I feel people's energies. When someone else is hurt, I feel it. Especially when I caused the pain, even whether it's on purpose or not. If someone else feels it, and then it lets me know or cuts me off or anything like that, that hurts. It takes me a while to get over. So, anyways, some of their strengths and would be the ability to be creative, insightful, and principled. They're passionate, altruistic. I would say altruistic is probably my weakest point because I'm not very generous, and I'm working on that. But I do see that blind spot, and I guess I'm more altruistic when it comes to ideas, thoughts, concepts, advice, more than financially. So I guess if someone wants my advice, I'm like, yes, please. I would love to be a subject matter expert on this for you. Our weaknesses are sensitive to criticism. Yep. Reluctant to open up. Depends on the person. If they're close to me, I can open up to them. If I trust them and feel comfortable around them, I will. But if there's something I don't know, it's hard because especially I grew up being picked on and bullied in school. Perfectionistic, more in the sense of how we feel about our work. We don't actually approach things, try to be perfect necessarily, but we do, at the end of the job or the task that we're working on, sometimes we're like, yeah, I could have done that better. Avoiding the ordinary, yeah, bores us to tears. Prone to burnout, yeah, that can happen. Which is why I like the current job that I have now, where it's not constant, 8 to 5 constant work. There's downtime in between to recharge, to look up on materials and things and training, or even just to take it slower. And then I tend to work better in bursts. So sometimes I'll get like 2 or 3 tickets at work at once, and I can bang them out because I'm like ready to go, rearing to go. So it's not constant work. But we could get burnt out. And I've had jobs when I worked in a call center where I had massive burnout to the point where I had to take some leave of absence from work. There's more explanations on the type here, but so I can't go around saying I'm an INTJ anymore, which is fine. I do feel that the INFJ seems to make more sense for me. But at the same time, you can't be pigeonholed into a specific personality type. Even though we are the rare, especially as a man, being an INFJ, it's pretty rare. But again, it's just it's a construct to help you wrap your mind around yourself and how you interact with other people, making sense of the world and yourself, so that you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. And if you talk to somebody else, you can kind of tell what kind of person they are and how to treat them and how to interact with them. And it's all meant to be good. It's not meant to say, oh, this person has, is more of a thinker or a perceiver, so therefore, they're gonna, they're not gonna get along with me very well, or they're going to be, hard to deal with, or critical of me, or they're not gonna like me. I'd say it's a good thing to look at the strengths and see how the strengths work with the other strengths of the other types versus, weaknesses. Yeah, you might want to avoid certain types for, say romantic relationships, or partnerships, stuff like that. But in the end, you really have to get to know someone, because even as an INTJ, and I firmly believe I was an INTJ for most of my adult life, it wasn't until the dark night of the soul, which, having that kind of experience can change a person. And I do believe people can change, for the better or for worse, but they can change. And, I do think that I still, pun intended, think, but I tend to feel things first, and then I think things through, if that makes any sense. So again, I try to look at it as a positive, not necessarily a negative thing. And again, don't feel pigeonholed if you do one of these tests, like, oh, I have to expect this out of life now, or I can only expect this much out of myself because I was considered an INTJ or ISTP or whatever the case may be. Whatever it comes back as, look at it as a way to guide you, not like the Bible on who you are as a person. As everyone is uniquely different anyways. So, well, I'll have to think of a new way to brand the channel, because spiritual INFJ, I think a lot of INFJs are, tend more towards spirituality, where, INTJs tend to kind of veer from it sometimes. So I was using it as kind of a thing to say, hey, I'm one of the rare spiritual INTJs. Most of us are atheists and agnostic. Hey, but I can't do that anymore. So we'll think of another thing here. But in the meantime, I thank you for watching, and the new subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. I'll have more quality content coming out as 2022 rolls on. Thanks and God bless.